I think this is all fairly bullish for Bitcoin. People are trying to figure out what they can trust, and Bitcoin is the most trustworthy crypto asset. It's the most trustworthy crypto network. There is no second best. And so the combination of that concern about inflation and counterparty risk with banks is driving Bitcoin's adoption. And at this point, we're poised for the next bull run.
Hey guys, welcome back to Let's Talk Crypto. Michael Saylor has been a strong advocate of Bitcoin, and in March he tweeted that his company had paid off its $205 million loan to Silvergate at a 22% discount and purchased over 6,000 Bitcoin. The repayment of the Silvergate loan has laid to rest all talk of a margin call for MicroStrategy. As of April 4, 2023, MicroStrategy now holds 140,000 Bitcoin, acquired for approximately $4.17 billion at an average price of $29,803 per Bitcoin. Saylor believes that the winning strategy for investing in the leading cryptocurrency is to hold on to it and tolerate the volatility. For Saylor, Bitcoin is the ultimate digital scarcity network. There is no second best. During a recent interview with CNBC, Saylor also discussed his views on the ongoing banking sector crisis in the United States and how it is driving Bitcoin adoption. According to Saylor, the banking sector crisis and the crackdown on the crypto industry have been, and will continue to, drive Bitcoin prices higher. He noted that Bitcoin is like a bank in cyberspace, with no counterparty risks and no management team. It is a protocol that runs independently of human intervention, thus it is not subject to corruption or mismanagement. From Saylor's perspective, as more institutional investors realize that the banking model and fiat system are broken, there will be a massive influx of money flowing into Bitcoin. Let's listen to Michael Saylor as he breaks down what's in store for Bitcoin after this banking crisis. But before we do, please consider subscribing to our channel, as we bring you daily content on the latest crypto news. And now, let's jump right into the video.
We have progressively built up a Bitcoin position up to 140,000 Bitcoin over the past 2.5 years. When Bitcoin traded from 66,000 all the way down to 16,000, we took an impairment loss. In the course of the last 12 weeks, that Bitcoin position has traded up $2 billion in fair market value. So, of course, when it's trading down, there are tax consequences and indefinite intangible write-offs. But when it's trading up, we reverse some of the tax accounting. The indefinite intangible treatment hasn't changed any. But I think the short of it is the software business is very stable, and it's a cash cow. And we use it to pay our interest on our debt and to acquire more Bitcoin. And the Bitcoin itself is our belief that Bitcoin is the ultimate digital scarcity network. And because Bitcoin has been moving up about 50% a year on average over the last 3 years, the real key with Bitcoin is just to be able to hold on to it and stomach the volatility. And we have conditioned our shareholders and our bondholders to understand that we're long-term hodlers. And because everybody is aligned in that interest, we're able to weather that volatility, and we end up doing very, very well as Bitcoin recovers. I think right now there are two twin drivers, right? There's the macroeconomic concern about inflation, and as inflation takes place, people lose confidence in fiat currencies. And that means they start to realize that everything valued on cash flows is a currency derivative, and Bitcoin is not valued on cash flows. It's in a digital scarcity. The failure of the banks, Silvergate Bank, Signature Bank, Silicon Valley Bank, now First Republic Bank, causes people in the Western world to start to lose a little bit of faith in the banking system. And they remember that Bitcoin is a bank in cyberspace run by incorruptible software. So the phrase "be your own bank" has emerged as an investment idea in the United States, but it's really a matter of financial survival elsewhere. And so the combination of that concern about inflation and counterparty risk with banks is driving Bitcoin's adoption. It's also being driven, by the way, by the crypto crackdown. And as people lose faith in crypto exchanges, crypto securities, and cryptocurrencies, there's a natural migration of capital from those crypto ecosystems into Bitcoin, since it's viewed as the risk-off safe haven asset of the crypto space. Well, I think what happened to Silvergate is unfortunate. I'll note that they weren't seized by the regulators. They're not in receivership. They actually were able to return all their deposits, and they're working out of that situation in a responsible fashion. And so my hat is off to them. I think it's very, very difficult time for any bank that had a large portfolio of long-dated bonds and interest rates surging from almost nothing to 5% in 12 months, I think is largely responsible for the difficulties that the banking sector has undergone. I think for those that are acquiring and holding Bitcoin, it doesn't make a big difference. I think the real significance of these on-ramps to crypto being shut down is that as people lose faith in certain stable coins, or they lose faith in crypto exchanges, or if they lose faith in crypto asset securities, like the crypto tokens that the SEC is currently going after, they exit those positions, and since they're not going to withdraw their money back into fiat banks because there are no off-ramps, the natural trade is to trade all those crypto assets for Bitcoin and then put their monetary energy into the Bitcoin network. So I think this is all fairly bullish for Bitcoin. People are trying to figure out what they can trust, and Bitcoin is the most trustworthy crypto asset. It's the most trustworthy crypto network. There is no second best.
This is in line with Saylor's comments during a Twitter Spaces chat hosted by Scott Melker, where he highlighted last year's developments that encouraged people to consider Bitcoin as an alternative to conventional banks. According to Saylor, these recent events have shown that Bitcoin has decoupled from risk assets, and the narrative surrounding it has totally changed. Saylor believes that Bitcoin has emerged triumphant from this crisis and is now poised for the next bull run, as a new class of investors who have come to realize that Bitcoin is an alternative approach to banking enter the space. Let's listen to what he had to say.
I think this is a catalytic crisis which has cemented the great decoupling. Yeah, I think this crisis did it, and you need a crisis to change people's deeply held beliefs. And I think that in the mainstream media, I think that people were ignoring Bitcoin as a bank. And what's happened here is people said, oh my God, banks are hedge funds. And they said, wait a minute, banks are hedge funds. My deposits are given away to a bank to gamble with. I want a different bank. Bitcoin is a bank. It's not a hedge fund. And of course, the obvious approach was written in 2008 by Satoshi in the white paper. It's just that the entire world is having a hard time embracing the idea of Bitcoin as a bank. If the price runs up $10,000, you have to have an explanation for why. And so the price movement causes people to say, well, I can't explain it the way I explained it before, because if everybody's in fear and the price is going up, there must be a different explanation. So I think what's happened here is the mainstream has embraced the idea that maybe they misunderstood Bitcoin, and maybe it isn't just a batshit crazy speculative asset, but maybe it is actually a different approach to banking and a different approach to currency. I think it's big catalytic change, Scott, and we're still early. Like, I'm not sure everybody else would say what I just said, but the writing is on the wall here. And I think that Bitcoin is through the worst of the crisis, and at this point we're poised for the next bull run, and it should be a much more pleasant bull run, because given the fact that all of the players that were in the business of shorting Bitcoin or rehypothecating it got wiped out, and if you're holding Bitcoin after it got beat down 5 successive times from 66,000 to 16,000, I think you qualify as a true believer, right? And so I think that this is a coming of age catalytic event for Bitcoin. I think we've gotten through the crisis, and now this has steeled the resolve of the maximalist. Bitcoin's a protocol, and so a protocol is what allows you to be a commodity, not a security. And I think what's happening here is the deniers are gone. Right? There's a nail in their coffin. If you're a denier like a Peter Schiff, right, you have no credibility left. The skeptics have stopped barking loudly that Bitcoin's too good to be true and the government will ban it. The skeptics are also, they're out of the mainstream. There's no credibility for them. The traders were trading it as a risk asset and they were shorting it in order to hedge their NASDAQ portfolio. But the traders just got destroyed, Scott. The traders that were short Bitcoin got wrecked, and the traders, the crypto traders are all out of business. They're all bankrupt. And the mainstream traders are looking at this thing saying, I'm going to short this at my own risk. And now you've just got technocrats, and then you've got maximalists. And we're 1% of the journey. And I think that, the contribution of people like Balaji is to point out to the mainstream world, Balaji is going to get the attention of all the technocrats, and he's going to get the attention of a lot of other people that everybody's got to wake up and pay attention to this. Bitcoin is legit. This is real. And this is an instrument to change the world for the better. And so I applaud that. And I think we should all be trumpeting that message.
In Saylor's perspective, Bitcoin is an idea whose time has come, and the next bull run is imminent. What do you think of Saylor's opinion that the banking crisis and the crackdown on crypto are both bullish for Bitcoin? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give us a like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. This is Let's Talk Crypto, and we'll see you in the next video.